Hello and welcome to Turning Looks, a beauty, cosmetics and makeup podcast. We are well and truly into summer now, with August being just upon us. So I thought it'd be a nice time to look over some of the makeup trends for summer 2023 and see what we think of them. Sorry to anyone living in the Southern Hemisphere who's currently in winter, but it'll be your summer soon, so don't worry. In my opinion, we have two different types of trends when it comes to makeup in this day and age. There is the one type, which is like the industry trend, which is set by like kind of fashion in the fashion industry, makeup artists, and that kind of side of things. And then we have the social media trends. They have some correlations between each other, obviously, because they're both featuring around makeup, but they are a bit different. Industry trends seem to be inspired by fashion, have bigger overarching themes, and are much slower in how they change and move along. They normally typically change with the seasons and with fashion trends. However, social media trends seem to be ever changing, drastically different, and come across as something new and exciting and something to like, and they seem to be quick to live and die. You know, you go through social media trends really quickly. They don't seem to last as long. So let's start off by looking at some of the trends that top makeup artists such as Sir John, Toby Henny, Jason Hoffman, Danessa Myricks, Sarah Smith said that they thought would be at the start of this year, before we jump into looking at some of the spring-summer runway trends from earlier this year too. Firstly, it was mentioned that this year would be all about the isms, that being minimalism and maximalism, with there being no real in-between. You'd either be wearing bold, full glamour or barely there makeup. However, it was also mentioned that spring-summer would also be about embracing the skin, products that enhance our skin, so less about coverage and more about natural, dewy, fresh makeup. Some did say, however, bright colours, metallic shifting pigments, and glitter in unexpected ways as a form of dopamine makeup would be used. Now, the idea of dopamine makeup I found really, really interesting. This idea of doing makeup that's fun, exciting, that you really love was a theme that came across in these makeup artists' trends that they came up with. Although this sounds very different to the previous point of the isms, it actually links together quite well. The idea of embracing, listening and loving yourself and letting that kind of shine out through your makeup, whether that be embracing and loving your skin and in all its texture and imperfections in inverted commas, as well as this kind of metallic bright colors and glitter in this kind of way of exciting yourself. It's all about doing makeup that excites you and makes you happy. I guess you could say that the trend here is love of one's happiness through beauty. That's what the makeup artists were getting at through their summer 2023 trends. Contrasting this though is grunge, and that was a big theme for a lot of makeup artists. Grunge has been around for the past few years, but this summer it was said that grunge on the lips would be taking all the rage. Plus this kind of lived-in look, almost as if you put your eyeliner on, then wash it off. And like you'll see, it's kind of, you slept through it kind of makeup. And that kind of grungy 90s-esque vibe. Again, it kind of ties into a little bit earlier with the minimalism side of things, you know, that kind of quick, easy makeup, kind of lived-in makeup. Now, following from this, I think it'd be really interesting to discuss what we saw on the runways for spring-summer 2023. So when I looked into some research into this, looking at multiple different runways from different designers, I saw those elements of skin embracing, and it was very true to see it through these runways. Many models looked like they weren't wearing foundation at all. I tend to think that they were, but it was just light coverage and focused on pinpoint perfectioning rather than this all over full coverage. But it did look like, you know, models weren't really wearing much base product. It's all about their natural beauty coming through. Another thing that I saw being played with a lot on the runways was eyebrows. Now, whether it be a resurrection of the ultra thin brows or bleached brows, there seemed to be a trend going on of this like thin brows, this hidden brows that are barely there. And to me, this seems to be going against that kind of pandemic idea of the big bushy laminated brows. We're kind of going opposite to that now and seeing like, yeah, the thin brows coming back and these kind of overly maintained brows, which, you know, there's a lot of people from the 90s and early 2000s who will say, don't overpluck your brows, you'll never grow back. So we'll take that one however you want to take it. Similarly to what was already pointed out through the makeup artists was elements of grunge that really came through on the runways, whether it be a look that kind of looked like someone was unslept, like really like lightly smoked out eyeshadow, or these grungy kind of cool tone 90s lips. The runways really pushed this to the front. However, one common theme that was across all of the runways, despite having this fresh face makeup, was sculpting. Now, not sculpting in a kind of Kardashian level way or the Scott Barnes way of underpainting, but this kind of level of soft sculpting. People's cheekbones were really prominent, and it kind of looked like they'd done it in a very natural way. They were obviously highlighting and emphasizing the cheekbones, but it wasn't in this like caking on bronzer and contour, but in like a very soft, sculpted way. People looked like they were snatched, but it was a very natural snatch. So overall, to me, from the industry side of things, the trends all signified a pulling back, a focusing on what makes you happy and what makes you feel good, and not being this ultra perfect, ultra sculpted kind of look. It was all about kind of low maintenance, quick to achieve, and the kind of things that you just want in the sweaty summer months. You don't want to be wearing loads and loads of makeup when you're out and about doing your life. You want something that's going to last and just look good all the time. However, when we look to social media trends, that's where things slightly change a little bit. What we're seeing currently on social media during these summer months is blush, blush, blush. So many different types of ways to use blush. TikTok loves to reinvent the wheel when it comes to blush. So at the moment, we are seeing bold blush applied like sweepingly across the face in really bold, bright colors. We're seeing that kind of brush draping, blush sculpting, almost like an elevated 80s kind of look coming back through too. As well as this, we're seeing like wet cheeks. So as much as it's like highlightery kind of cheeks, it's kind of mixing that with a blush. It's this blush and highlight hybrid that we're seeing on the cheeks. Another blush trend that is currently really taking over, and it's kind of a progression from the pink under eyes that's kind of seemed to take a back seat now so quickly, is the ombre under eyes. So that's kind of taking a bit of concealer like right in the inner corner of your eyes, and then putting blush and then a darker blush and kind of blending that out, and it's having this ombre kind of under eyes into blush, all one kind of thing. It kind of almost like bringing that, like when you put the blush on your temples, or bringing that in even further. That's all the rage at the moment, as well as it kind of mixing in with color correcting, depending on the colors you're using, whether it be pink to kind of color correct any blue undertones and brighten, or orange to get those purple undertones. We're seeing this kind of big ombre blush trend happening, which is kind of, to me, a follow-on from what was happening a few months ago, which was the pink under eyes, where everyone was using either blush on their under eyes. Every brand was coming out with pink concealers and pink powders to, inverted commas, brighten your under eyes. But the way a lot of people were using it was to really create this kind of like pink under eyes, in the sense of like you had an infection or a rash under there. That was really big before, and was going into summer. Now, another big trend on TikTok at the moment is this kind of idea of pearly skin, whether that be like eyeshadow, glowy bases, this frosted lips is a big trend, and it's being dubbed as mermaid core. I think coming off from The Little Mermaid, which came out at the start of summer, people really wanted that kind of wet look on their skin. And it's a good look. And it's a good look if you have quite dry skin. If you have oily skin, it's a look that can end up looking really oily a few hours in. Now, following on from Mermaid Core and, The Little Mermaid, a big pop culture moment at the moment is Barbie, and what TikTok and social media are calling Barbie core, which is cool tone, pink eyes, pink lips, pink cheeks, very bright, magenta, in your face, pink colors, almost harking back to the 80s again too. But obviously it's Barbie, it's all about that pink life. And we're seeing that really take hold on at the moment on social media, with so many brands coming out with cool tone pink blushes. And people using them in so many different ways, and kind of almost using them in this kind of multi-use way, where they're using their cream blush on their lips, their cheeks, and their eyes to create this kind of monochromatic, bright pink look. For me, I love that. I love pink. I love cool tone pink blushes. I've loved it for a long time now. So seeing this kind of really take charge and really people having fun with it online is something I enjoy. However, how long will it last? Who knows? It's social media, it's TikTok, it's quick form content, it's moving constantly. However, like contrasting to this, over the recent weeks, we've been seeing bronzy makeup and this kind of idea of latte makeup, which I find hilarious. Latte makeup is just kind of like a monochromatic bronzy look. People are doing bronzy looks on the eyeshadow, bronzy brush, brown lips. It's this very like 90s nude bronze look. So we're seeing that coming through a lot at the moment. Like no blush, it's all about the bronzer. I guess it's as people are getting more tan, they're embracing this kind of bronzy look. Tying into this is the idea of bronze drops and this kind of bronzy base makeup too. This glowy bronzy base that might not actually fit your skin tone is kind of very much we're seeing a lot on TikTok, as well as multi-use makeup products. This is the big trend happening on TikTok at the moment, and social media is using one product in multiple of ways. Now, if you're a makeup artist, you're kind of used to doing that. You're used to creating, mixing, making your own formulas with products, using products in ways that maybe they weren't intended to be made for. However, TikTok, this is a new thing for them, and this is a big thing that they're inventing now. And this idea of using products in multiple ways to get quick and easy makeup. Now, this could be a reflection on the cozy live that we're in, and people are being like, actually, I've not got enough money to be buying 20 different things. I will use this one thing in multiple ways and it will work. Or is it people just having fun with makeup again? I'm sure in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be a new trend anyway. And we're also seeing a lot on social media, which contrasts the mermaid core trend, is this matte lips, matte creams. And I think this is going to be a very big thing for maybe more going into autumn. But it's kind of turning away from glossy lips, but into matte lips. We've seen Charlotte Tilbury, we've seen NYX, we've seen Lisa Eldridge all release these like matte cream lips that are already meant to be smoothing on the lip. In autumn, we're going to see that really coming through, but it's starting to creep in now into summer. Now, another big trend for summer this year has been color changing makeup. Now, again, social media, it's all about that quick form content, the shock value, something that you can see change really quickly, really drastically, and people can act excited. This science experiment on your face where you're either using a color changing blush, color changing lipstick, or these pH changing things that make it sound more scientific than it is, when everyone really has pretty much the same pH. So these colors basically turn out the same on everyone else. But we've seen that on TikTok all over the place, these color changing makeup products that people are really, really loving for that kind of fun, quick content. And that's the big thing with social media and social media trends. It's all about selling you products in a very quick way. Something will come into fashion or something will come into trend today, but in a week's time, it won't be there again. So it's capitalizing, it's brands and influencers having to capitalize on what's on the trend right now, pushing that out as much as they possibly can, make it seem like it's new, exciting, different, it will change your life. But in next week, it'll be something else doing that, which is different from the industry trends where they're more slow. They're not about selling products in that same way. They're more about this is a new look to do. This is how you can be using the products you already got. And it's all about elevating an overall picture, isn't it, when it comes to these industry makeup trends? It's about, okay, how does this makeup look elevate the clothes that you're wearing, rather than it just being about the makeup and just being sat in a studio with loads of lights on you and bam, let me put on all this makeup that I'm only going to be wearing for this short form video, then I'm going to take it off and do another look. But it's very interesting to see the big differences and similarities that cross over between these different trends. I think summer is a great time to look at makeup trends. People are out and about more, people are going to more events are happening. So it's a great time to kind of look at how are people using makeup? How are people being told to use makeup? Yeah, what are the trends that are happening at the moment? What's coming out at the moment to appeal to people? And why is that? Why are we seeing loads of light coverage foundations and BB creams? Is it because it's hot? People want something that can just slap on their face and kind of get out the door? Or is it a bigger conversation to have where people are actually like, no, I want to draw back my makeup now. I want it to be easier. And that's a trend that maybe will go on further. Who knows? We'll see in a few months time. But summer is a really great time to kind of see what people want from makeup in a way that I don't think is the same when it comes to the later months in the year or earlier months in the year. Summer's a great time for experimenting and playing with makeup. And I think you really, really see that at the moment. So that's it for this episode. I would love to know if there's any makeup trends that you've seen online that you don't think has been covered in this episode. Let me know in the comments or on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on now to be the first to know when our next episode comes out. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikToks at Turning Looks Pod. And yeah, let me know what kind of trends you're seeing at the moment that maybe haven't been covered. What's trends that you like? What trends you don't like? I'd be really interested to know what kind of trends you're even using or taking part in that you maybe didn't even realize you were taking part in. I will catch you soon on our next episode. Bye.